A very good morning to all, and welcome once again to the third session of 5G 60 Talks. This is Prabha Singh from the IoT Academy. Nowadays, we listen to lots of emerging technologies, and they have to coexist and support each other to make all of them successful with wide adoption. We have we have a very interesting topic today, role of 5G and other emerging technologies, where you will learn how 5G acts as a catalyst for emerging technologies growth. Today, we are fortunate to have a very prominent and experienced speaker, Professor Ratnajit Bhattacharjee from IIT Guwahati, Electronics and Electrical Engineering Department. He has served as HOD of the Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department. He has also served as the Chief Investigator of E&ICT Academy, a joint initiative of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and IIT Guwahati. He has delivered many talks at several conferences and workshops. He has also been involved with several projects. He is actively involved at the Center for Sustainable Water Research and additionally acting as director at Mehta Family School of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence at IIT Guwahati. His research interests include wireless communication, wireless networks, microstrip antennas, microwave engineering, and electromagnetics. Professor Bhattacharjee has also served as a general chairperson for the various IEEE conferences. I welcome Professor Ratnajit Bhattacharjee, sir, on behalf of the IoT Academy and the E&ICT Academy, IIT Guwahati. Over to you, Ratnajit, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. First of all, my thanks to Dr. Trivedi and Mr. Koshalendraji for inviting me for this particular webinar. The role of 5G and other emerging technologies. So I am involved with 5G, and also we are going for 6G. I will tell later. So let me share my screen. I will turn off my video, and I hope the participants, I could see there are 59 participants online. So I hope this 1 hour will be a fruitful. I should not say it's only one-way presentation from my side. I would expect some queries and some discussion also. Thank you. So let me share my screen. So the topic today is role of 5G for other emerging technologies. Before I go to the main discussion, how 5G is going to affect other emerging technologies, let us quickly try to understand what 5G means and also what do you mean by emerging technologies. The plan of the talk goes like this. I'll very briefly cover what is 5G, what are the promises of 5G, because how it is going to impact other emerging technologies will depend upon what 5G has to offer. And then we'll try to understand what is an emerging technology, what we mean by an emerging technology, and some of the recent emerging technologies and the impact of 5G on some of these emerging technologies. And then we'll have the concluding remark. And of course, I would like to have some queries from the host of participants present in this webinar. So what is 5G? I think already there has been a lot of deliberation on this. So for example, if you go to how 5G is defined by different technology developers, say Ericsson, it says 5G is the fifth generation cellular network up to 400 times faster than 4G, and it is creating never before seen opportunities for people and business. Qualcomm's way of describing 5G is it enables a new kind of network that is designed to connect virtually everyone and everything together. It is important, virtually everything and everyone together, including machines, objects, and devices. So these are some of the very distinctive features of the 5G technology as compared to the earlier generations. Verizon's view is offering the potential to change what you experience in your mobile device. So it provides high speed and low latency. Cisco's version is it is designed to increase the speed, reduce latency, and improve flexibility. So 5G technology has a theoretical peak speed of 20 Gbps, whereas that of 4G is 1 Gbps. So if you summarize all these observations, what we see that 5G is a much faster network, 20 times faster. As we can see, it has the distinctive feature, it can connect machines, objects, and other devices, and uh, it is envisaged that this technology is going to create never before seen opportunities for people and business. But if you come to a technical definition of 5G wireless system, what we mean is that fifth generation wireless technology systems or 5G refers to technology that satisfy ITU IMT 2020 requirements and 3GPP release 15. So very quickly, IMT is the International Telecommunication Union and it has 193 member states. And IMT 2020 is the standard. It is the requirements issued by ITU and the International Telecommunication in 2015 for 5G networks, devices, and services. And 3GPP is the third generation partnership project, unites 7 telecommunication standard development organization. And here you can see our Indian standard development organization, TSDSI, is also there. And they sorry, split the 5G network into 2 releases. Release 15, which corresponds to new radio phase 1, and release 16, which corresponds to new radio phase 2. So technically speaking, 5G is a set of specifications which are realized, and those specifications are uh, set by the ITU and 3GPP. Telecom technology has always been a changer. Whenever a new generation of telecom technology is introduced, it introduces some new features, and very quickly we have come from first generation of mobile analog phone calls to fifth generation today we are talking of. So for example, 1G, it was analog phone calls, but the distinguished feature was the mobility from the traditional telephone calls. 2G, it is the digital phone calls and messaging, and 2G is the phase from which it becomes secure, and there was much mass adoption of that technology, and it used TDMA technology, but it had very limited data rate. Then there was a lot of hypes on 3G, better internet experience and broadband services. CDMA technology was introduced, but somehow 3G could not come up to the expectation it created. Sorry. True broadband network started with 4G. It introduced IP-based services and OFDMA technologies, faster broadband, lower latency. So these were the key differentiator of 4G. And then we are moving to 5G now. And let us see, I put a question mark. So let us see what we expect from 5G, and that will decide how it is going to impact the other technologies that is emerging. So the main features of 5G technology, one of the distinctive feature is the enhanced mobile broadband or EMBB. Sorry. Ultra reliability and low latency communication, URLLC, and massive machine type communication, MMTC. So these are the three distinctive features of the 5G technologies. And 5G stands on a host of other technologies and technology evolution. For example, radio RAT or radio access technology evolution, hyperdense small cell, self-organizing network, machine type communication, millimeter wave. So this is one area where we are working here at IIT Guwahati. Redesign of backhaul, energy efficiency, allocation of new frequencies, spectrum sharing, and RAN virtualization. So there are many of these technologies that supports 5G. Now coming to what 5G promises to us and why it is so important. You can see that peak data rate increases from 1 to 20 Gbps. User experience data rate from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Then spectrum efficiency to increase 3 times. Spectrum efficiency, we means that how many bits we can send per hertz. And it depends a lot on the development of technologies so that we can send more number of bits per hertz. Mobility. So mobility is a very, very important concern because wireless devices are being introduced on high speed vehicles and all. So 4G target mobility was 350 kilometer per hour. And in 5G, it is 500 kilometer per hour. So that means it can support very high speed vehicles, but still you can keep communicating. Latency. Latency is a very, very important parameter for real-time applications. And in 5G, we expect the less latency. You have seen that URLCC. So the latency has to decrease from 10 millisecond in 4G networks to 1 millisecond in 5G. Then connection density, devices per kilometer square. This is, of course, of interest to the service providers and expected to increase tenfold. And network efficiency, energy efficiency. This is a very, very important parameter. It is to increase by 100 times because 5G will have lot of devices, IoT devices, Internet of Things devices, which are very low power, maybe operating on small cells, and the lifetime should be very, very high. So network energy efficiency is another important parameters which we should consider. Area traffic capacity, of course, this is another telecom service parameter. So if I summarize, 5G is going to be a technology which will give you sorry, much higher data rate as compared to the present network. It will utilize the spectrum more and more efficiently. It will support higher mobility and it will reduce the latency. And also it will have energy efficiency because energy is very important. And as your network grows, if you can operate the network with lower energy, this is highly desirable. Now, when it comes to what are emerging technologies, there is no widely agreed upon definition of emergent technologies or ET. It is a science-based innovation. This is how the literature says, with a potential to create a new industry or transform an existing one. What does it mean is that these technologies are in a development stage, need not be a very new one, maybe existing for a long time, but waiting for some other technology to grow so that its growth can be, the growth of this technology can be supported. So emerging technologies are technologies whose development, practical applications, both are still largely unrealized. So this is how Wikipedia uh, defines emerging technologies. Now there are, as you know, there are host of technologies are there and which are very, very important. And as I mentioned, that today we live in a situation where the telecom technology provides supports for a large number of technologies, and their performance of those technologies largely depend on how what innovation and development takes place in the telecom technology, and 5G will be an enabler for many such technologies. So the list of emerging technologies are very, very long. I'll pick up few. So 5G is viewed as a transformative technology which can pave way for many emerging technologies. And from the long list of such technologies, I will pick up few. So we have witnessed COVID very recently. E-learning is emerging as a technology, not only in India, across the globe. And what we are doing right now is this webinar. We are using Wireless and Communication Technologies for conducting this session. So this is just an example, and it is happening. The volume of such uh, meetings and lectures and online courses and classes has increased tremendously. And post COVID, we gathered the confidence to that extent. Now, in my institute, IIT Guwahati, we have introduced a fully online degree program where now when you why I'm talking about why e-learning is a technology, because you need many other technologies to come up, like when you admit students, when you evaluate their performance, you require proctoring, and online proctoring is maturing with video, image processing, artificial intelligence. So this is one dimension. It is not just the content creation and content delivery. The entire thing, the entire process is being realized online. And this is possible only when you have a very fast network offering you higher bandwidth. Similarly, augmented reality and virtual reality, these are also the technologies which are being largely dependent. Their dependent development is largely dependent on the communication infrastructure, the network connectivity, bandwidth availability, and 5G is going to affect them. Another area which is lot of potential are there is automated driving, driverless vehicles, vehicle to vehicle communication. I mentioned about machine type communication. So when you are driving, when driverless vehicles, they are driving on a lane. So vehicle to vehicle communication is very, very important. And this type of technologies require again a lot of sensing, very low latency communication links, and higher bandwidth. And 5G is going to provide them the required backbone for maturing such technologies. Remote robotic surgery is something which is again emerging, and you can understand that here everything has to work almost real time at in involve the surgery means you will operate surgical tools, you need to send the videos, you need to send the commands, control them remotely from a different location. So reliability, latency, bandwidth, all three things are very, very important when you think of remote robotic surgery. And 5G will provide the necessary platform for the same. Healthcare is another segment where 5G will influence a lot. Today, we have a lot of monitoring systems which, through your mobile phone, sends data to cloud. This data may be analyzed either through AI tools or by doctors, and the patient health state monitoring, not only monitoring whether they are going to require any medical support, this can be determined. So healthcare segment where a lot of automation is taking place, and that automation can be supported if you have a proper network infrastructure, and you can communicate data collected from the sensors very quickly, effectively, without interruption to cloud. Automated production line robotics. So these are the areas where 5G is going to make a transformative change, because nowadays major plants, they employ varieties of robots doing their jobs, and again this requires the control commands to be given, they have to be operated remotely, and depending upon the particular it is just not a sequential operation. Depending upon the situation, one may need to even change the action produced by a robot. The security and other things becomes very vital in this case, particularly industrial robotics. When it is done, it has to be protected so that nobody can manipulate its operation. IoT, industrial IoT is coming in a very big way, and it is expected there will be billions of sensors collecting, gathering data from different processes and activities, and this data need to be transmitted, processed, and IoT devices itself will create another domain where 5G support will be very essential. And the network itself is changing. Instead of passing all this data directly to the core network, now the technology is coming up where we call mobile edge computing, where the processing is done at the edges as close to the devices possible. And this type of technologies will transform the IoT network drastically. Of course, all technologies are developed for better living of human being, smart cities, smart home, smart transportation, smart grid. These are some of the technologies which are still in the emerging state, and 5G is going to impact their development. Any query or question so far? Is there any query or question, or we will take it at the end?
Some questions are there in the chat, like.
Okay, so we'll take those questions at the end. I'll after I complete. Okay. So let us come to now a little bit specific, like India centric scenarios. Before that, gaming and streaming industries. So these are also the industries which will depend largely on 5G. So 5G deployment and adoption in India, and what is the status? So EMBB FWA is the fixed wireless access. So this is also another very important feature of 5G. Usually wireless accesses are short distances, but in 5G we are trying to have long haul fixed wireless access network also, IoT, D2D, and transformation of several verticals and future development. So these are considered as the opportunities. And of course, cost consideration, heterogeneity, flexibility, and automation. So these are the issues. And a lot of dependencies are also there, like technology readiness, standard devices, policy framework, spectrum availability, pricing, regulatory issues. So theoretically, there may be lot of scope for 5G, but before it comes to the ground reality and really change a particular technology, many hurdles are to be crossed. And India, as you know, world's second largest telecommunication market, and India was very quick to identify the frequency bands for 5G. Uh, Now, frequency band, of course, has some technological issues. As you go for lower frequency bands, your bandwidth you get is usually less, but you can cover for longer distances. When you move to higher and higher frequency bands, like microwave frequency bands, millimeter wave frequency bands, you get much larger bandwidth, but your distance, the coverage reduces. So there has been a lot of technological innovation in 5G, how to come up, how to come up with technologies which are capable of giving you broader band and at the same time longer distances. Use of massive array antennas and all. These are the technological features. I am not entering into it. But in general, as you go for higher and higher frequencies, you have abundance of bandwidth, but distance becomes a limitation. Technology becomes a limitation. DOT has awarded DOT awarded 5G trial spectrum in 700, 3.5, and 26 gigahertz band. And our telecom operators, they actually develop the use cases. And 5G spectrum auction has already been completed, you might have seen. And very recently in IMC, 100 5G labs have been announced, and these will come up in various educational institutes across the country. In IIT Guwahati, we are also developing a 5G use case lab. Now, the sectors in India, particularly, this is, of course, my views where 5G is going to make a lot of impact. Is agriculture is one sector where smart farming and precision farming. Precision farming requires extensive use of technology. It requires AI techniques. It requires communication technologies to analyze and set those parameters which are just essential for proper growth of the crop. So data collection, data transmission, analysis. So agriculture is one area which will see a lot of changes in future because of the introduction of 5G technologies. Education, I have already discussed. Education is a major area where the developments in 5G will influence the way we teach, the way we interact, the way we reach to the remotest part of the country. Uh, Now technologies are developed where a teacher can have a telepresence at a remote corner of the country. But all these things requires the telecom infrastructure and the bandwidth. Drone technology is another technology which are coming up very much, particularly application of drones are becoming quite common in different sectors in India. And the drone requires again high speed communication and also very low latency communication technologies. Transportation and urban planning, this will get affected because of the developments in effectiveness in a positive sense, uh, because of the development of 5G technologies. And one important technology, the fintech technology in India, has grown rapidly during 4G time. And today, as you may have noticed, even the smallest transactions, the vendors at the rural areas, they are also selling their products to fintech. And this is one area which will grow, are expected to grow, and 5G will definitely usher that growth. Healthcare, I have already discussed. Automotive, public safety and disaster, these are also the areas where 5G will play a major role. Particularly, the research projects are being carried out how to predict or to get estimate of, or not exactly predict, but rather uh, get some alerts about the possibility, say, large scale landslides and all, which very which happen very frequently, particularly in the hilly regions in India. Similarly, alerts for cyclones and other things. So those everywhere you require massive amount of data collection, data transmission, processing, and 5G backbone will play its role from underneath to provide that support, to provide that analytics that is needed to handle such scenarios. Media and entertainment industry, they are also are the industry which will actually, where 5G will play a major role, the way newscasting is done, the way news coverage is done. So there are large number of emerging technologies, and I once again say that emerging does not means the new technology. It may be something which is already there, but which has a chance of being transformative because of with the aid of other technology. And 5G is going to play a very, very major and crucial role. Uh, I would like to, before I thank you, uh, India has taken a proactive step. India has already announced the 6G vision document when 5G is under implementation, because technology development, technology deployment, and creation of new technology, there is a time difference. And 5G technologies are now mature, getting deployed. And it's the time that now we think of 6G. And India has taken the right step. Already our 6G vision document has been published, and 6G testbed has also been announced. I'm a part of it because we have a consortium of institutes led by Samir. We are trying to develop the 6G testbed for India. So you can see that, and we are trying to go to much higher and higher frequencies, see those unexplored frequencies, and whether we can come up with technology which are economical and at the same time give even much larger bandwidth, reliability, lower latency. So this is the way the telecom technology keeps moving. And of course, once the technology is developed, the benefit goes to other emerging technologies by developing several use cases using this technology. So with this, I conclude and I am ready to take some questions. I'm very sorry since yesterday, I suddenly got some cold and in between you might heard. So can you please tell me the
So, sir, there are a few
question?
questions. Good morning, good morning, sir. So,
Good morning.
first question is, what is latency from Aditya Yadav?
Latency is the delay. You initiate something because your network, in the network, you initiate a command and your actuator is connected at the other part of the network. Now it will act after some time based on your command. So this is the latency or the delay produced by the network. When we transmit information also, particularly over communication channels, you do not get it instantly at the same time, you get with little delay. Now that delay has to be reduced as much as possible, and that delay depends upon also the distance. It also depends upon how many hops. In many of the cases, the information does not go by the same single hop. So combining the network routing delay, but 5G technology, it gives the latency, it wants to bring it down in the order of 1 millisecond, 1,000th of a second, so that it almost appeared to us real time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so the next question is whether software-defined radio is part of 5G was projected.
Software defined radio is very much there. See, I am an RF person. The data processing, signal processing takes place at the lower frequencies, and in a radio communication we communicate at a RF frequency and then you bring it to IF frequency, and post IF processing is done using digital hardware. So that architecture is very much there, and today's many of the equipment you will find even all the functionalities are loaded in the firmware. It depends upon, of course, if you buy licenses for some things and they enable it, you need not change the device. So software defined radio helps you to select the proper bands and all by proper changing the softwares in the baseband part. This is a challenging area when you try to send larger and larger amount of data. We are facing this problem, particularly when you try to handle gigabits of data and send them from the baseband, push it towards RF. That technology also needs to come up. Today, FPGA based technologies are used, digital signal processing based technologies are used because modulation, demodulation, and then encoding, decoding, all those jobs are done at that level. And it also should come up equally. So very good question. Software defined technology is very much there already embedded in our systems.
Yes.
Okay, so there's another question from Tathagata Sen Gupta. He is asking, like, what is mobile edge computing? It would be helpful to if you could give some use cases.
Yeah, so what happens actually, suppose you have a IoT network. IoT devices initially used to be having low on processing capability. So they used to collect data, transmit it, and processing used to take centrally. And then if some responses are to be sent, it has to come from there. So a lot of information travels in the main network. Now, recent trends is to have the processing done at the edges of the network. And this is happening because the devices operating at the edges, they have larger processing capability. And also, in that case, if this processing can be done at the edges, then you can avoid a lot of communication into the central, say, server or central location. So these concepts are coming up. Many a time, for example, when you use a healthcare device, you use your mobile as a gateway. You do not do any processing. Here, the
Yes.
sensor signal. So if some processing could have been done there itself, and then it is communicated depending upon the requirement, then you save this every time you need not send the signal. So this type of concepts are coming up. I think Kushalendraji can comment on that. He works on that area.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I could give some examples like when we take some industrial IoT use cases and where take a case of clothing industry where we have to find the quality of a particular cloth being generated. So we have to decide the quality at the runtime. So all the computation has to be done by taking the visuals of the cloth that is being generated. So and it has to be rejected in real time. So that is all the computation has to be done on the edge side. Another thing that you can see, the smart cameras, that is also a good example of edge computing. So all the computation, the very smart cameras, they can like detect if something is erroneous happening or some notification has to be sent. So all kind of competition they do, and they take the needed actions. So these are the few and autonomous car, that is also one of the very good example of as computing. It has so many sensors, all the computation has to be done in real time on the vehicle. Data, very minimal data goes to the server side, to the cloud side. So most of the computation happens on the edge computing. So these are the few examples that I can say as of now.
Thank you, Kushalendraji, for your explanation.
So one more question is there from Bhaskar, like IoT, cloud computing, and 5G play a vital role in smart manufacturing and smart city planning.
Uh,
Yeah.
So this was basically, I think someone suggested this as an answer. All right. So we have another question from Sunita Joshi. She says, good morning, sir. Is there any software to implement the 5G scenario?
Pardon?
She wants to know, is there any software to implement the 5G scenario?
5G scenario, there are many simulators are available. Even MATLAB itself has a complete package on 5G. There are other simulators as well. Because 5G system development, before deployment, it is studied thoroughly in simulators. And MATLAB has all the features you can actually do. I'm from academia. I know MATLAB and use MATLAB. Maybe in industry, there may be other simulators.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is another participant who wants to know, are the benefits of 5G too great, but it is disturbing everyone? Is there any solution to it?
Okay, disturbing are of two types. One is, of course, it happens our our generation, when we grew up, there was no mobile phone. Till we graduated from engineering colleges, there was no mobile phone. Today, every child, they are familiar with mobile phone since childhood. So it is actually the technology, whether you have grown up in that technology. And the usage, technology provides you some facilities, and the usage of those technology, whether it is disrupting or disturbing, that part up to the users. Apart from these, there are, of course, some questions are raised regarding the hazards, health hazards, particularly because you are using radio frequency for communication. Now, if you give me to share my slide once again, then I will show you one slide.
Sure, sir.
This is something we developed. So there are regulatory bodies, electromagnetic field regulations and limits on mobile phone. So there are international bodies which actually give some guidelines and safety limits for radiation. And there are government agencies time to time check whether these are being. So in India, we follow this ICNIRP, those specifications. In your, when you buy a mobile phone, at the back, you might see that there is SAR limit, specific absorption rate limits are printed. So these are some of the things you should see whether they are within the specified by either FCC or ICNIRP. So it is the judicious or prudent use of technology which will save us from hassles. Technology is required for better living. At the same time, it should be used judiciously. That is what I can say.
Very true, sir. And we have another question from Sunita Joshi. She wants to
Hmm.
know how we can relate 5G with IoT. Please share some applications.
So IoT, what IoT has? IoT device has sensor, it has memory, it has a processor, and there is a connectivity module. So that connectivity module through which the IoT device transfers the information to the main network. So in most of the cases, for example, this connectivity may be through Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi in turn is connected to a 5G network. The access point, Wi-Fi access point at the back end may be connected to a 5G network. So in that way, IoT devices indirectly sends its data to the 5G network itself. Within IoT devices, there are modules available which can communicate. Uh, for example, there are some devices like LoRa technologies. These are long range communication, takes place at much lower frequencies. Now, these frequencies are also fall within the 5G spectrum. 70 megahertz, 80 megahertz. So in that way, 5G includes everything, devices, all form of communication. It is a much bigger umbrella. I cannot go into the technological part here in this small list. For example, LoRa uses chirp-based technologies, frequency modulated signals, and
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And I believe now all the questions are done. So anything else is pending, Apurv? Anyone to ask any questions, or anyone from the participants would like to ask any questions, or shall we move
I,
ahead?
I once again apologize for in between interruptions because I do not know from yesterday onward I developed some cold, and at times I might have produced some disturbing noises for you.
No, sir, that's fine, because these are very natural things which no one can avoid actually. Right. So I think everyone is done. Is there anything else? I believe, is there
Ma'am,
anything
one
else?
more question is there. Like,
Acha.
is 5G use dangerous for humans and animals?
I answered this question.
Yes,
As long as you use it within the limits set up by the international bodies, it is. But at times, what happens? It all depends upon the deployments and other things. How do you deploy? If you electromagnetic signals, these are vector signals. If you have many radiators placed nearby, their signal strength at some places may add up and cross the danger limit. Similarly, it is recommended that when we use mobile phone, we should not use it continuously. 6 minutes is the recommended, or you use a ear plug, keep it away from your head, or if you are not using ear plug, change your from side to side, from left to right, like that. But many a time we see people talking over a phone hours together. How many of you switch off your mobile phone when there is an announcement in the plane? No, this is a
No,
practical
sir.
question I
Yeah,
am asking.
correct, sir.
You know very well it is statutory warning is given that it may it may interfere with the aircraft system. But I could see many people do not switch off their mobile. So technology is one side and the usage is the other side. We should also be educated enough to use those technology in a better way rather than causing harm to ourselves. Otherwise, these issues are taken care of. There are bodies, time to time, our DOT and all, they check the base station radiation, whether they are within permissible limits and whether too many base stations have been placed very close to each other. So it all depends. Recently, I was in a hotel. I went for some meeting, and when I woke up in the morning and then actually opened the curtain of my window, then I found some 6 to 8 base stations focusing on my room. So this is dangerous. So this type of things we should avoid.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, I think so. We are done with the question and answers for today. And I would really like to thank Rajnijit sir for taking out his valuable time for answering those questions and the great presentation. It was a great pleasure to have you with us, sir. Now I would like to invite Kaushalinder sir, Chief Mentor of the IT Academy, to give a thanks note to Ratnajit sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Prabhaman. So I would like to thank Professor Ratji sir for giving deep insights about 5G and the kind of work IIT Guwahati is doing under his leadership and with the other colleagues he is doing. And I have been fortunate enough to work with him for upskilling of faculties and students while he was heading E&ICT Academy IIT Guwahati. And he has been kind enough to consider us as a industry partner wherever there is a research project and our expertise is needed. So I am really thankful for that. And he has very beautifully articulated all the points that is around 5G. Either it is the emerging technologies, the use cases, and the parameters that define the 5G. And there is a he has given comparison between 4G and 5G for various parameters, either it is data rate, latency, mobility requirement, and connectivity density, network efficiency. All these parameters he has done very beautifully. So I would again thank sir that even though he's facing some health issues, but seeing like we can see that his commitment, once he made the commitment, he is ready to fulfill all the ways. So again, thank you so much, sir, for giving so beautiful insights about 5G and giving your valuable time to all the audiences. I believe that all the audiences would have been benefited with the knowledge you have given to all of us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I do not know whether the user community really liked it. I try to make it as interesting as possible. If people have liked it, I'll be very happy. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Kaushik sir, and thank you, Ratnajit sir. And I would like to thank all the attendees for attending this session. And we hope you have learned significant points about the emerging technologies. And if in case you all have missed the session or joined late, you can find it on the YouTube. And hope to meet you all at our next webinar tomorrow at 11 a.m. with a new topic, 5G to 6G evolution. And you all have a great day.
One small announcement. Tomorrow we would be showing a small real setup of 5G, 4G or 5G, where all the UE would be running in software. Like just now we were having one question from Sunita ji that can be implement 5G in software. So we would be showing you that UE can be implemented. The baseband part can be implemented in on the software, and the radio part is radio. We would be having radio card. Similarly, at the base network side, the E node B or G node B would be in the software, and core network would also be running in the software. So tomorrow we would be showing you the connection between mobile as well as network. We would be trying to do some YouTube streaming between the two entities. So tomorrow, if time permits, we definitely show this thing. So I invite you all that, and I request you all to stay connected tomorrow, join the session, and understand how the software, by software we can implement these technology 5G, 6G or whatever. Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot again.
Kushalendra
Thank
ji,
you so
please
much.
share the link to me also. I would like to see the real hardware part of the things and how
Sure.
you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Sure. I will. So we have like implemented that OAI open air phase to on this hardware and
Are you
the
using
software.
FPGA?
No, sir.
These
It is
are-
completely on the laptop.
Okay.
And we for radio card, it is a hardware card that we have brought from US. India, we don't get the radio cards, and the other things are in software that is running on high-end computer.
Okay.
So I will share you the link, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and hope you all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.